Yeah. Today we have Roderick who's going to talk about OS2 boys, and he's from the other side of the world. Okay?
Safe and sound.
Yeah.
Away from us crazy people.
Yeah.
Around the other side of the world.
Yes.
Can everybody hear me there? I don't know if there are speakers on the table.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Okay, that's good. I'm just gonna do a stupid audio test for later to see if it works instead of trying to do it when it happens. I'm just gonna play a MIDI song and I'm going to, I tried to see if I could plug my laptop, its audio output from my OS2 laptop into my laptop, but I don't have the equipment for that. So I'm going to put my headset's microphone on there, and I'd like to know if you guys can hear this. One moment.
Yep. Quality is low.
Okay.
Sounds like an OS16.
Judging by the emotional response, that's a yes. So
Yeah, it works, but it's
Okay.
not great. Sounds like an OS16.
I'll get into it. Let's see. Now I'm still a bit confused about how this all works because normally I just do a laptop straight up. So I put everything ready. So let's hope that this now works.
Good, good. We have your PDF.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's working?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, life has been slow moving on this side of the planet. The issue is take care of your health. For the past 3 years, I've been stuck with long COVID. This is not the type that people have where they've got lung damage, but where the virus has nestled in your body, usually in your glands. And I've also had simultaneously all CMV and Bar Epstein infections popping up. So the last 2 or 3 years have been kind of difficult, tired, and that has severely affected my OS2 stuff. And life always hits you with a mallet because once you thought that I had an experimental treatment that was working, and 2 months ago I had a silly accident with a moped that I just bought for fun, and I was in the hospital for surgery, and I've been out for 2.5 months with a raised heart rate of 130 for the last 2 months. It's nothing serious according to the cardiologist, but the gist of all of this is take care of your health. As we all get older, well, I start to notice it as well. So anyway, I just gave you a quick update. The personal stuff has slowed down my OS2 stuff a lot, but where possible, I still try to do something, but there were days half a year ago that I was sleeping about 14 hours a day simply because of chronic fatigue, but so goes. Let's move on to the more brighter stuff. So there is not yet an announcement on articles os2voice.org, but as you know, Dimitri has resumed work. I'm not going to spoil the beans. What he's going to do, that's up to him. As you all know, Dimitri is in the US. He left Russia because he opposes Vladimir Putin's genocidal fascistic war in Ukraine, and he's a political refugee, effectively, and he had no other choice than to flee for his life. And via Europe, he's now moved to the US. And I can imagine that if you leave your country behind, your family, that I talked to him personally in Istanbul about it, that certainly, you know, you need to rethink your whole life. On the OS2 side, Dimitri has a new compiling PC at home that he bought because his old Asus laptop was broken. He is working on some parts that are part of the new browser. Now, I'm gonna leave everything up to Dimitri to talk about it, but what everybody needs to understand and needs to understand loud and clear is that the browser isn't just the WebKit DLL, it's everything around it. And probably if you looked at the presentation from Paul Smedley, you'll see that it's gargantuous. So you've got the GCC compiler, you have libc that's used by all of the ported applications, and then there's a whole never-ending truckload of other DLLs that all need to be ported and maintained. Can everybody still hear me and follow me correctly? Okay. So I'll leave the rest to Dimitri. Most of the maintenance, we have to make clear-cut choices. So Qt5 is the end of the line. Maybe in the near future we could do a refresh, but Qt5 was always, Dimitri, the project is so big, it's gargantuous, and we thought until recently that Qt5 was also still getting updates for the WebKit engine. But about a year or 1.5 years ago, we found out that there are just security updates. So the WebKit engine that the Google browser uses is not getting the updates that we need. Qt6 is what's going to be next worked on, but that's up for Dimitri to explain about. Warpstock is on the agenda. I've already been talking to some people at Sigurd Vastenrat's meeting last weekend in Cologne. Which date would be okay? It's probably going to be somewhere in May again. We looked at doing it a bit somewhere in June, but then we get stuck in the summer season here in the Netherlands, and that might just actually deter some people from coming. So it's always a difficult one. It's either going to be in Rhine in Germany, which is just across the border, or I'm going to be lazy, and I'm again going to do that in Amersfoort here, which is the big city next door. So I'm pleased to announce that the GCC factory is now open for everybody. So what does that mean? I've talked about this project before, and effectively it's what OS2 has always been lacking is the fit and finish. So what I mean with that is everybody's used to smartphones and Apple and Microsoft app stores where you can go and press a button and just download something, and when it's updated, your phone updates it. How can we get that on OS2? Well, NetLabs has, together with BitwiseWorks, made RPM packages forever. I know how controversial RPM packages can be for some people, but at some point, BitwiseWorks was spending 75% of its time on cleaning out RPM, cleaning out incorrect DLL versions on their system. So there's clearly something for a portion of the user base which makes that difficult. So what the GCC factory does is that I put all the developers and porters together and other volunteers, and we started to take software that already exists and package it. rpmos2voice.org is a website that you can open right now in your browser, and there are instructions on how you can add either the Warpin repository or the RPM repository. I'll go into detail why we both support Warpin and RPM. So here we go. RPM, some people like building these packages, but I think Greg Young is in the room there. And Greg, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How much do you like to build spec files for RPM files?
I prefer to go to the dentist.
Yeah. So that's one of the, Greg, by the way, a hands up, because Greg has been doing a lot of work on a single Warpin package that this stubborn old idiot wanted to have forever, and it's there now, but I'll get back to that later. Greg deserves all the credit, just like a lot of the other people that worked here. I'm just the guy with the management hat on that's trying to stitch it all together. The other thing that people don't like about the RPM is that they're stuck on the USR directory structure. So you've got USR, lib, etc., and the bin directory. People don't like that. What is great about Warpin is that it's much easier. You can make desktop objects. But we didn't have dependency checking. So what does that mean? Well, a good example is that there is an old Warpin package on the NetLabs website for Tame. But it has an old version of the Linux same package in there that talks to your USB scanner. But it's from 2005. So that package is great, but if you can't get sane, how can you do it yourself So Alex has made a small add-on for warp-in scripts that allows the warp-in package to do dependency checking. I will show you some examples of how this fit and finish looks. So also with the warp-in package, you can tell where the OS2 portion that gets installed, where it goes. So you can put it in D programs, you can put it in C var log, whatever you want to do. But in order for something, take for example my favorite game, Open Transport Tycoon. It has dependencies on some of the graphics libraries that are in RPM netlabs.org. So what the warp-in package does is that it downloads, what the warp-in package does that after it's downloaded and it's executed by warp-in, it will tell Yum RPM, I need these packages, can you please check them? And then you will get a dialog box if you want to install these packages, yes or no, and it will install them. Now, if people are going to ask, what do you support? I'm sorry, the support is narrow. We only support ArcOS 5.10 or higher. Why? I just need to make choices. Greg, how much work has the multimedia package been for that you created? Can you give an estimate how many hours went into that one?
Well, it depends on if you include the building of all, fixing and building of all the pieces. Probably 100.
Yeah. So there you have it. Also, ArcOS has certain updates and kernel patches and the upcoming ACPI daemon that I deem critical. So you are welcome to use our packages on any platform you want. But as we say in Dutch, it's warranted to the doorstep. I, as project manager, don't read the forums. So if you have an issue with a package, please send an email to helpdesk@os2voice.org and I'll see how we can help you and the developers to iron out any bugs. As I said, you can go with the browser to rpmos2voice.org and there are instructions there on how it works. So the first round of applause I'd like to give to Greg Young, because one of the things that has always annoyed me at no end is the fact that the standard MOS2 isn't really usable. And I'll give a demo in a moment of how it looks like. So Greg has probably created the single largest warp-in package ever created. What I mean with that is that a warp-in package is limited to a single WIS file of 128 kilobytes, and it's close to that boundary. Now, the reason that we wanted to put everything into a single package is simple. You shouldn't have to go out there to get all of these different components and drag them together and install them. So in there, you've got the M player, you have the graphical front end. It also integrates the CWMM classes that Greg Young updated. It installs a new MP3 and flag codec, and it installs Humidity plus the required patch files that you just heard IBM rally play. There is still a current downside in warp-in, as you also, if you don't have the upcoming ArcOS, you need to install this package separately. Because currently warp-in repositories do not do dependency checking. So that is one of the small downsides. So here's another example. Sorry, someone had a question?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good. Keep going.
Okay.
Please.
Now, this is a good example why I wanted to do this forever. I like Tame personally. I think it's one of the best free scanner applications ever created. But under the bonnet, it uses the same Linux scanner engine to do the communication with your USB scanner. But these files get updated. Recently, BitwiseWorks released a new version of SAME. So the problem is, how do you get this stuff pushed together? How do you make this easy and manageable for both the developer and for the user? Well, there is now in rpm-os2voice.org, there is in the Warpin repository in release, there is a small Warpin package that installs the tame OS2 software to the directory that you want. And then in the background, it downloads all of the stuff from rpm-netlabs.org. And then with a single mouse click, you get all of the software. And then out of the box, your scanner should work. Slight problem last year, well, this year why it didn't work at Warpstock is that we found another bug. So we've been testing it, but this should now work. Some of the other things that have been repackaged are, for example, my favorite game, Open Transport Tycoon. Out of the box, it installs SDL and also the soundboards. There's another package that I have repackaged called Embellish. It lives somewhere out on halts. It can be found, but you need to know where to look for. So there's now also PMPDF, which does also the dependency checking. I will soon try and release a package of ScumVM with a couple of old free games so that you can set up ScumVM with a single mouse click. Well, a couple of them. The intention of this project is not to repackage the whole Hobus archive. It's primarily to add stuff that is currently software that we really were familiar with in the past, or GCC ported software that isn't that requires dependencies. But as Greg said, creating spec files is not everybody's cup of tea. So this Warpin package is a great compromise between the two. We can still do the dependency checking, but building the Warpin package is much easier. So, and I'm sorry for a bit of the flaky screenshot here, but can everybody see this, or is this too small on the screen to see?
It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, right. I'll try and do it differently because I didn't. This time I was able to prepare a bit better. If I minimize this and I open this, can everybody see this OS2 desktop or not?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so now I hope it's not going to lock up because that's always the demo effect. But if I go here to ArcNoa Package Manager, the only thing you have to do is that you go here, and I think I heard Lewis talk about that. Well, here you can actually see how it works. The only thing you have to do is that you go here, Manage, you go here to Repositories, and then it will show you the list of repositories. And here, I've already added the OS2 voice one. I'll just edit it so that you can see the settings. Oh, that's a bit hard to read. One moment. Can I? So the only, well, wait, I'll do it differently. When you go to repositories and add, you can select the WPI repository. And here, can I scale this up or no? I can't make it bigger. So the only thing you have to do is to put in a name and a description. And here you put in the URL, and that's in this case rpm-os2voice.org /warpin/release. And then you add the repository. That's all you need to do. As always, there is the demo effect, because as it turns out, the whole repository is working, but the file that Warpin uses to download the files is currently broken. I know where the cause is. That will be fixed this Sunday. For the technically interested people, the repository runs on a Linux server, and on top of that, it runs a virtual machine to run Warpin to create the so-called repo data. So, and for some reason that isn't running. Other than that, can I get my screen back now? So if I go back here, let's see, where was I? Oh, I don't hope that now. So why do you want to put warp-in files in a warp-in repository? Well, the biggest reason is if the package gets updated, then Arcnoa Package Manager, if once you edit the repository, can detect it. So that means if a new version of MPlayer comes out or a new version of Timidity, then you don't have to keep scrolling the software lists for is there an update. You just go to Arcnoa Package Manager, you click on the button. The other thing is you don't have to be hauling around zip files anymore and puzzling what file does what. So currently the repository is online and you can download the warp-in packages with your browser. They're there, they're finished, they should work. But the biggest question is, and I can get back to that question later, I need people to help with this. So far, Greg Young and Jan-Erik Larka have been extremely helpful to create these packages. So I'll just go back to my laptop here, and then you can actually see what that means like in daily life. So the warp-in package that installs Open Transport Tycoon, for example, has created this folder. It puts it straight into the game folder, that's the category. So I can just open this one. I double click on Open Transport Tycoon. It takes a while to load because it's a pretty gargantuous big game. It's about 30 megabytes. And here you've got Open Transport Tycoon. Oh, is that redrawing or not?
I see a black.
Oh, bummer. That's what I was afraid of. Can you guys still see me on the webcam or not?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the reason is that the VNC webcam the VNC server is not redrawing the screen. Okay, let's see. Maybe I can just do it the other way around. I'll just turn it to the screen. Yeah, it's not going to work. Sorry, no, that's clumsy. I don't think that the VNC server is going to work for these demonstrations. It just shows a black hole here. Can everybody hear it in the background or not?
Yeah, we hear some noises.
Yeah, so if you've ever played Open Transport Tycoon, it's a game from DOS originally, and it was ported, there was an open source version created of it, and that has taken off as a game of itself. And as a train geek, this game does everything for me. So you can build railway lines with it. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, I hope it is, but one of the things I can show you is, for example, the multimedia folder has been completely transformed thanks to that big DLL that Greg made. So if I now go into the multimedia folder, I suddenly have all of this. So for example, out of the box, MPlayer is installed. There you go. No more loose zip files. Now this one is in touch, sorry about that, but here you go. So Timidity is now installed out of the box with the patch files. So as you heard previously, I can just go here to the sound files and I can take a, well, this one shouldn't be hindered by copyright. And now
We don't hear anything.
So now I don't know if this is going to work, but I just downloaded the movie Warriors of the Internet, which I think was made by Ericsson. So I'm going to try and play this. Let's see if it actually displays it. Oh, are you able to see this or not?
No.
It's not updating. Let me move it forward. No, it's not updating the screen. But what you can now do with MPlayer installed and with the new CWRM classes, you can now just about play any video format on OS2 without getting these stupid error messages like, oh, this codec isn't supported.
That's actually really cool.
And, sorry?
That's really cool.
Yeah,
really good news.
but the point is it all comes out of the box. and the CWM classes will automatically associate 20 different file extensions. And now when you click on it, it starts to play. Finally, that's how OS2 is supposed to work. Software shouldn't be a headache to do. Now, if you like to do that, it's a free world. But I've already installed this on a couple of people's systems, and now it turns OS2's usability up a bit. I can now use my flatbed scanner out of the box without any pain whatsoever. So, to give you an idea, if I open my browser here, is that working? Oh. Something is blocking this. Oh wait, sorry, I'm using the wrong mouse. Sorry about that. So to give you an idea what it looks like, so currently you can't still add this in OS. You can't add the repository yet to walk in because this repo data file is broken. So for example, here you have the tame package that was built. So when I download this, let's hope that this works, I'll just download it instead of doing it via Archnor Package Manager. You can just start it up. You should be able to, can you not specify? Okay, this one is, oh yeah, it's already installed, so you can't change it. And when you now do next, it should ask, when this is finished, oh, it's already installed, it already did that. If you install the tame pack, the system already has it installed. So when you install the tame package on your system, it will automatically ask RPM to install everything. And then you should just be able to double click on tame. Oh yeah, here the dependency checking is done. We have to move that. And then you get tame, that's it. No more futzing with zip files and everything. And you can select your scanner from the pull-down menu, and that's it. So I hope this kind of gives an impression what we've been working on. These files look simple, but the testing that has gone in is extensive. Greg spent about 100 hours creating this. But this is how software distribution can be on OS2, and how we can add some clear-cut usability to it. We keep the old software, but in the background we update it. So that's this. Let me get back to my slides. And let me switch here to the slides back. I have a question for everybody, because this has always been my pet project to try and do it, but how do other people view this type of packaging? Would this be a useful addition for your OS2 usage if you get more software packaged like this and delivered to your computer's doorstep when there are updates available?
Sure. I mean, I think it's just like when I use my Linux based operating system, same thing where I like to just pull from a repository and not have to go fishing, so to speak. I mean, that's kind
Okay.
of
At this point, it is expected by the user experience. You know, basically, other operating systems have taught us to expect that. And so, yeah, I think it's an excellent idea.
We've got about 10 people. Some people port, other people write the scripts, but I need more volunteers, whether it's for testing or packaging software. Now, the good news is this. Warp-in packages are 10 times easier to make, in my humble opinion, than spec files. If you master spec files, that's great. It's a skill set, in my opinion. But one of the benefits also from warp-in packages is that you can disassemble them. So you can use the rip command line tool, and you can rip the whole thing apart and see how it looks like. So I was hoping with this presentation to get more people enthusiastic to help packaging. This is the typical stuff that people like Lewis and David and Alex and Andy at Arkanoa don't have time for. They're working on the operating system. And this is the stuff that Lewis is kind of hinting at, what can we as a community do? We've got Paul Smedley, we've got Ko from South Korea, we've got Albert, and they're all porting software. But it is that last finishing bit isn't put together. Well, that's why I need people. You don't have to volunteer now, although that would be helpful. And you can always send an email with questions to helpdesk at os2.org. That arrives in my mailbox. And I hope you found this a useful presentation. And I'd like to thank you everybody for your precious time. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Roderick.
Yeah, question, is this also available from the Yum command line?
I don't know actually. Lewis, are warp-in packages available from the Yum command line or not? I don't think they are, or are they?
They shouldn't be.
No.
No, ANPM is using Yum and Warp-in
Okay.
it's doing that work.
Okay.
So,
Bring it together.
yeah.
Roderick, there's a question on the internet. Oh, sorry, did I interrupt?
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. If you have an experimental environment and a production environment,
That's not
like NetLabs.
No, that's actually not what he's asking.
No. Okay.
No, what he's asking is if on the NetLab site there's a RPM you can run that will add the experimental.
Okay.
So he's wanting to have a RPM created, or
Yes,
possibly even
I can answer that. If you go to rpmos2voice.org, you'll see that both the RPM repository and the Warpin repository have a release and a stable. What terms did I use in? They have a release and a, what's the other one? If you go to rpmos2voice.org, there you can see the different repositories that there are. The rule of thumb that I have is that if something has been an experimental for about 3 months and nobody reported bugs, then I just move it to release automatically. So we do test files internally, and we test them on different languages and different systems. But so there is a test system, but eventually we'll just move them to release so that people pick up on them.
But the question is, can't you add something to Arkanoa Package Manager that relieves you of the difficulty of remembering what you just said and just install the stuff by clicking on it, just like with the NetLabs experimental one?
So if you go into the NetLabs repository, one of the RPMs in there adds the experimental repository to your to your system. The question is, can such a thing be created? And it could actually be created as either or both an RPM or a Warp-in package that would, when it runs, add the repository automatically, so you don't have to go through that process.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Like kind of a one-click.
I don't know if that's possible.
Well,
Yeah,
then the
it's
question is
possible.
where to put that RPM.
Yeah.
Put it in Arkanoa.
It could be added to the Arkanoa
Well,
stable.
you could put it on Hobbs, you could also put it on the RPM build site, so instead of when you go to the thing and get the information, you can just click on it and install it.
Yeah, I mean, where to put it,
That would
that's
be easy, yeah.
kind of a political decision, I guess, maybe, or
But also
something,
could be put
but
on-
you could put it on the NetLabs experimental thing, somebody that has control of that.
Well, you wouldn't want to put it on experimental
No.
because a lot of people don't.
Oh, right, okay,
You
or
wanna
maybe
put
on
it
the
one of
NetLabs,
the
but
stable.
one of the ones that's available by default out of the box.
Sorry, Robert, we're just making.
No problem. You see, one of the things that's also still on the list but keeps snowing in is this. On our web server that we're running, there is a ArcaOS VM that's running, and I need somebody with rec skills. And the idea behind it is that we get all of the DLLs out of NetLabs experimental, pull them in and start run some programs and just to see if they work. Because currently, most of the stuff in experimental sits there literally for months and months in a row, and there's no automated unit testing. So one of the things that would satisfy me, for example, is to see if I could get everything from experimental, like the new libc, and see if, for example, Firefox still works, Thunderbird, OpenOffice can start, PMail, etc. But for that stuff, I need people with rec skills, because I don't want to expose you guys to my rec skills, because that would probably mean the end of the world. My rec coding is absolutely abysmal. So that's why I need people to help me with that. But that's one of the ideas behind it, is that we can do some rudimentary testing. It's never going to be professional software testing, but if you could just, I still remember that a few years ago, I think there was a libc update and it accidentally broke PMail, but it wasn't tested. So those type of basic unit testing would already be a step in the right direction. It wouldn't cover everything, but with scripting you could do that. So.
You mean just to start them up and make sure they don't blow up? I mean,
Exactly.
You need to regression test it, so you need to install the update and then run some software that depends upon that library.
And make sure it at least starts up,
Right, exactly.
because beyond that is a whole nother.
And
You know, sometimes orders change, they move, and all, you know, the software is expecting to find a function in a certain place. It's no longer there in that version. It's a breaking update to that library.
Right.
So whoever built the library needs to be made aware of it.
Yeah, regression testing for PM.
and the idea behind it is that a script will run, it runs every program individually, and then it looks for except queue reports or pop-up log reports, and if they're found, then they're emailed, and then we know that we've got a regression. Now, one of the things which is more advanced that will require more rec skills is that there is a program from IBM called ANPM, not to be confused with Arc Noah Package Manager. I think it's called ANPM. No, is it ANPM? I'm getting old. It's IBM written software, and it emulates keyboard and mouse strokes.
PM mate.
So you can control a PM program, and that way you could, for example, let OpenOffice open a Word document and let it do that automatically every night. But again, I need some crazy Rex guys to help me with that, because my Rex skills will probably make me lose my last bit of hair that I have left, and there's not much left currently.
Or even Python
So-
would work fine for that, wouldn't it?
Sorry?
Python, you could also do Python.
The problem is that Python may have dependencies that are in these things that you're testing. So the idea is if you want to test using something that's not dependent on the software you're testing.
I'm not sure how.
And the other reason for using Rex is that most of the people that I work with, their favorite scripting language is Rex. So, there's one of our Rex coders. Thank you. Good morning. Alex pops in. Oh, he hides himself. Did I scare you all, Mr. Rex?
No comment.
No comment. I hope you found this insightful. I hope to be making a full recovery over the month of November, and then slowly getting back on track. As I said, the next thing is ScumVM. If you'd like to have packages added to the repository, like old OS2 software that can be distributed legally, like Embellish was released as freeware, one of the things I'm considering is to, for example, repackage BlueCat. It's a simple package. But for example, Albert has ported the Qt cat program to OS2, but it sits in a zip file somewhere. And those are the types of things that I think would make OS2 much more usable. Again, I'm not looking to take the entire Hollis archive and package it, because then we get those gazillion files. But if anybody has something that they would like to see ported, especially PM programs that are repackaged, then I'm more than willing to look at that. Are there some questions on the IRC channel, by the way? Yeah, I see here if, I see a question if VLC could be added. I'll look into that, if we can also make a version where we add VLC. But I think there were some stability issues with that. I'm not certain. I need to revisit that. Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Are there any other questions that people have? Or are there questions on the YouTube chat?
There's another one on IRC up above the VLC one.
Okay. Okay, everybody. Sorry I couldn't make it this year. I was out of holidays. Enjoy your Warpstock. I will be peeking online. And thank you for your time. And maybe we can see each other in May in the Netherlands. So thank you for keep working on OS2 and keeping the lights burning. I think IBM would never expected this in 2025. So thank you and enjoy Warpstock.
Thank you, Roderick.
Thank you, Roderick.
Thank you. Take care. Bye. So it's your turn, Alex, or is it Dimitri's?
I do want to quickly address that other question on IRC.
Okay.
Somebody was asking about descriptions in ANPM. I don't know about images because the RPM format doesn't really support images. But I hope people are aware that there is an information button when you select a package in ANPM that pops up a dialog which gives you a much longer description of what it is.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Then I'll just leave the stage and then we can go on to the next presentation. Thank you, and again, everybody, I hope to see you at Warpstock or another time. Thank you. Take care. Where's the button? Okay.
Red one.